Welcome back. 13 college friends conceive the ultimate act of revenge, targeting thousands of innocent Americans in the nation's heartland, including the president. May sound like a page from the ISIS playbook, but actually it's the plot for a new fiction thriller. Let's welcome in the author of the book for more from Cave Creek, Arizona. Here's Stephen Schwertley, author of Enemy in the Heartland. Stephen, it's great to have you on our program. What prompted you to write this book?
Well, I wrote the book after I had a stroke about 2 years ago, the first weekend after the 4th of July. And during my recovery phase, my wife, who is a behavioral analyst, said, hey, you need to do something to recover, work that mind of yours. So I sat down and started to write this book. And I figured it ought to be a book on something that's relevant in the real world. And so terrorism was the topic.
I'll say not only is it relevant, it sounds as if it's based on actual events. Is it?
Hopefully not. At least not as yet. But, every day when you watch TV and watch all the news coverage out there in the world, you're always seeing drones doing this, going by airplanes or landing on top of buildings and stuff. So it's pretty easy to picture, the sequences of events in the book.
Well, I'm enjoying it. I'm reading it right now, and it does seem as relevant as today's headlines. And obviously, we don't want to see something like this take place in real life. But as you're putting the book together, not to have a spoiler alert, let me concentrate on the characters. Who is your favorite character? Or let me rephrase that. Who did you have the most fun writing in the book?
I think the character Dick Edwards in the book was the probably my favorite character because he reminded me so much of my boss that I worked for so many years. So it was my way of getting revenge on my boss for the old payback times.
Stephen Schwertley, I see up there, this is billed as the Heartland series. Is this a first book of what you hope will be many?
Hopefully it will be 3 in this series. I just finished, as of today, the second book. It's going to go through editing starting next week. But my wife told me one day when I was writing the book, she said, don't kill off all the characters. You need a sequel. So I owe it to her. Being
so the cat's out of the bag. The sequel is on the way. You finished it up. Stephen Schwertley, we thank you so much for your time. The name of the book again, Enemy in the Heartland. Good to have Stephen on, my old neighbor out in Arizona. Now, it's time to hear what's on your mind via social media. Our first comment comes from Kate, who writes in regarding the president's proposed neighborhood diversification plans. She writes, a better use of this money would be to help the poor get better jobs so that they can afford better housing. Get people off welfare and help them reestablish family values. The next comment comes to us from Mike, who writes in about the administration's strategy in dealing with ISIS, or the lack thereof. He writes, JD, it's very likely that Obama never had a Pentagon strategy come across his desk in the same way Harry Reid kept the path from Congress clean. They're like gatekeepers who insulate the president so he can claim ignorance and blame others. The first I heard of it was on CNN. Sound familiar? Oh, yeah, Mike, it does sound familiar. Finally, we hear from Gary, who writes in about where our troops are stationed. And he writes, a part of me says, bring all of our troops home. Station them on our border, where I believe the biggest threat comes from. A smaller part of me asks, what would President Truman have done? Some may immediately say that Truman's action was during a world war. I say, are we not on the verge of a world war now? Gary, thanks very much for your comment. For all of you who comment, we want to hear from you. And here is the way you can get in touch with us. Via email, Facebook, and Twitter, and our website, newsmaxtv.com/comments. Now listen, we want you to have a great weekend, but I really need you here on Monday night because we have the story of a 99-year-old World War II veteran who needs our help. And we've got some ideas on how you can help him. That is coming up Monday night. In the meantime, have a great weekend for those you see and those you don't. Stay brave, stay free, stay tuned. We'll see you Monday.